The restaurant was quiet that morning, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like something important is about to happen. Soft music played under the hum of chatter as sunlight poured through the tall windows. And standing near table 12 was a young waitress named Maya, calm, focused, and carrying a secret no one in the room could imagine. She wasn't just serving breakfast. She was watching. Listening. Protecting. And in just a few minutes, one woman's arrogance would collide directly with her mission. Across the room, the tall, confident wife of a high-ranking general stepped in with sharp heels and an even sharper attitude. Her voice cut through the air long before she reached her seat. She wore a flawless hairstyle and a uniform-like precision in her posture, as if the whole world needed to fall in line behind her. And unfortunately, Maya was her next target. Before we jump into the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to support our channel, Kindness Action, where we share real, emotional stories reminding us that kindness has the power to change everything. Now, let's begin. Maya had been assigned to that restaurant only 3 days earlier, not because she needed money, but because a federal task force had placed her there. She was young, quiet, and moved like someone who'd been trained to see every detail without being seen herself. Her job wasn't to serve food, it was to observe a potential threat rumored to be meeting someone at that very restaurant sometime within the week. So when the general's wife arrived and started snapping her fingers for service, Maya simply took a breath, tucked her notepad into her apron, and approached with a gentle smile. "What took you so long?" the woman snapped, tapping her finger on the table. "Do they only hire slow people here?" Maya didn't flinch. "I apologize, ma'am. How can I help you today?" The woman scoffed. "You can start by learning some respect. Stand up straight. Fix your vest. You look sloppy." Maya stood quietly. She didn't defend herself. She didn't offer excuses. She simply listened, because staying invisible was part of her mission. A few diners glanced over, uncomfortable with the rudeness. A young businessman shook his head, whispering under his breath, "No reason to talk to her like that." But the general's wife was used to people shrinking away, too afraid to correct her. She wasn't ready for someone like Maya. After taking the woman's order, Maya walked toward the kitchen. Halfway there, an elderly couple stopped her. The man gently touched her arm and said, "You handled that with so much grace, dear. Don't let her break your spirit." She smiled weakly. "Thank you. I'll be okay." But inside, something heavy tightened in her chest. She wasn't hurt by the insults, she'd been through harsher training than most civilians could imagine. What hurt her was knowing that kindness was becoming rare in a world that desperately needed it. Meanwhile, the general's wife continued complaining to her husband about the incompetent staff, her voice loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. Her husband, dressed in a decorated uniform, quietly tried to calm her, but she kept going. When Maya returned with their food, the woman barely glanced at her. "This is cold," she declared, even though it was steaming. "Take it back and bring me something edible this time." Maya nodded and lifted the plates, but as she turned, the woman grabbed her wrist sharply. "And don't mess it up again. Honestly, where do they find people like you?" That moment changed everything. Because as the woman held Maya's wrist, a small metallic flash caught Maya's eye behind the general's wife, exactly the kind of flash she'd been trained to look for. A man near the doorway lowered his arm quickly, but not before Maya saw something tucked inside his jacket. A weapon. The threat she'd been assigned to watch for wasn't coming later in the week. He was here. Right now. Maya gently pulled her wrist free and smiled politely at the woman, who was still lecturing her about proper behavior. But her mind had already shifted into mission mode. Without alarming anyone, she placed the plate on a nearby table and tapped the emergency signal hidden under her vest. The next few seconds felt slow and fast all at once. The man stood, adjusting his jacket. His eyes scanned the room with intention. Maya moved subtly toward him, positioning herself at an angle where she could intercept him if he reached for the weapon. Her pulse remained steady. Her breathing calm. The general's wife finally noticed the tension, her voice trembling. "What is going on?" Maya didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward just as the man reached into his jacket. With one fluid motion, quick, controlled, and precise, she grabbed his arm, twisted it behind him, and forced him to the floor. Gasps filled the room. Within seconds, undercover agents rushed in, taking over the arrest. The restaurant fell silent, every eye wide, every mouth open. And then the general's wife stared at Maya as if seeing her for the first time. You're not a waitress," she stammered. Maya adjusted her vest and spoke calmly, with kindness rather than pride. "Ma'am, I'm here to keep everyone safe. That includes you." The woman's face softened, the arrogance melting into something unfamiliar, humility. She looked down, embarrassed, and whispered, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way." Maya smiled. Not a mocking smile. A warm one. "It's okay. We all have our moments." The general approached Maya and shook her hand with deep gratitude. The other diners clapped softly, relieved, grateful, and newly aware that kindness matters, because you never know who someone truly is or what they're carrying inside. Later, as Maya stepped outside into the bright morning air, she took a deep breath. She hadn't just completed a mission. She had reminded a room full of people, and one humbled woman, of something powerful. Kindness costs nothing, but it changes everything. And that is the kind of mission the world always needs more of. Thank you for watching. Stay kind, stay hopeful, and remember, every small act of compassion can make our world safer and brighter for someone else.